Good morning, good afternoon. Where are we? Are we morning or afternoon? I guess still morning, huh?
It's hard to tell anymore, you know? You get up and you work and you get through and you look at the time.
That's kind of how the world has
Yeah.
evolved. Hey, Paul, so good morning. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Matt Kimball. I am with the genius in resident at More Insights and Strategy, Paul Smith-Goodson, and we're here to talk all things data center on the Data Center podcast. How are you doing, Paul?
Doing good, doing good. How about
Yeah,
you?
I'm doing okay. Been busy, man.
It's good.
This AI thing the kids are all talking about, it's causing everything to move at record pace now. So, where inflection points used to be years apart, now they're months
I
apart.
still I'm just totally amazed at how AI has taken over and where we're going. And
It makes for fun conversation, and that's
yeah.
what makes podcasts fun.
I'm
Hey,
working
so,
on a big project.
oh, yeah?
Uh, I don't know. I think I mentioned to you. I actually started a year ago, but I'm proposing that because we're getting very close to some risky behavior. I mean, we're seeing a lot of risky behavior, and we're not sure how we can control it and where it's going. But I'm working on a concept called gain of function AI. You
Ooh,
know, remember COVID and how we had COVID gain of function and
yeah,
increase the capabilities of that particular entity and got out of control. And so I've
I
got a
like
way, I've got a way to handle AI. So I'm documenting that. So I'll be putting a paper out on that.
I like that, and thank you for refining the scope of risky behavior because that could be taken a number of ways.
Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah.
that.
There was a movie like that, wasn't there? Risky behavior.
Something like that. I think there were a few movies. Hey,
Yeah.
so we got a few things we're going to talk about today. As usual, you're going to hit on the awesome world of quantum and AI, and I'm going to talk about Nutanix a little bit. But before we do that, just have to throw out the disclaimer. What we're talking about here is just an exchange of ideas and thoughts. This is not to be taken as financial advice for anybody out there. And if you do use what we say as financial advice, shame on you all day long. With that said, you always have these creative headlines, and I can never figure out what they mean. And yours is beyond the border, and I don't know how to take that, but I'm hoping you can provide some color.
You know, you just kind of put something down and then you write something about it. You know, that's the way I like to do it. So anyway, I was doing some research on what kind of activity was going on last week in AI data centers in the U.S. And I didn't see any announcements from AWS or Google or Microsoft during that week. And so I took a look what's going on globally, and there's a lot of activity going on globally. In Morocco, Nexus is putting in a $1.2 billion AI infrastructure program in Morocco, and it's going to be some type of phased deployment going around Casablanca, and it's going to go up through 2027, I think, is what they said. It's going to be built on NVIDIA, of course, and they're pairing it to something they've got called the Center of Excellence and Innovation Hub. They're trying to position Morocco basically as the AI gateway for Africa and for the Mediterranean. So it should be interesting.
So why Morocco is the AI gateway for Africa? Is that just where there's best
Mainly
potential?
because I think they've got to start there, and I think it's progressive enough that
Okay.
probably handle it. So in Mumbai, there's always something going on in Mumbai. Equinix opened up they call it MB3, but it's a data center. And that's its fourth one in Mumbai. It's going to be a 5-story liquid cooled site. It's going to be interconnected with dark fiber to the original one, MB1. They call it MB1, MB2 data centers. It's going to have like 1,300 racks to begin with, and build up to over 5,000 at both scales. So they're, I mean, this is getting serious. It's like, I mean, it's, AI is like a plague taking over the globe. I mean,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of activity going on. Japan, of course, has got some activity, and I did notice that this week AWS has got they're installing like a $25 billion investment in Mississippi. It's going to be they've got a kind of a regional infrastructure footprint there. And I mean, they're spending a lot of money. They've got, they're going to spend $11 billion on one project in Madison County, I think. They've got another $1 billion facility they're building in, can't remember the name of it, Hens County. And they're converting what used to be a Delphi manufacturing plant. They're going to put like $3 billion into that campus. So they've got a lot of money poured into it. So AWS has got a partnership with the one of the Mississippi organizations, and they're doing like a $300 million modernization program and some new energy projects, and it's going to be over 600 megawatts of carbon-free power generation, as they say.
Wow.
So Mississippi is stepping up with becoming strategic. So that's about all I've got on the new stuff going in.
Okay, so couple things in there. So first, we've gone from the bridges of Madison County to the data centers of Madison County.
Yep.
That's really interesting. And so it's interesting to me that, and I saw some report tied to what you're saying that kind of was talking to new data center growth, and this was U.S. related. And while, you know, that Northern Virginia, DC kind of beltway area is always kind of so heavily populated, it's interesting and good to see, I guess good is the operative word there, that other parts of the country are really starting to expand their data center footprints. Mississippi, you mentioned, Texas, obviously, where we live, is starting to really expand. It seems like there are a lot of resources available across the country that could be further leveraged and not make us so dependent on one region for all of our data center resources and capacity for AI and for other in the US.
Yeah.
That's part one. And part two, I have a question for you, and that is, you know, when I think about the US and rest of world in AI, I kind of think back to infrastructure too, in that, you know, when you look like phones and highways, or phone systems and highways, telecom highways, so on and so forth, the US was first, and we really kind of led the world in kind of laying down roads, laying down wires, so on and so forth.
Thanks to Eisenhower.
Thanks to Eisenhower, yeah. But then as we didn't do as great of a job as maintaining that, and you wake up one morning and you find these countries that were once underdeveloped out in front of us from a technology adoption perspective, right? Like they skipped over landlines and went directly to cellular or mobile. Do you see AI as kind of an AI infrastructure as kind of a similar pattern, or do you think it's, you know, we're so fast moving?
I think it's going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on how friendly this organization state is to creative financing and help with stuff like that. I think also it depends on the help and the quality of the people involved. Now, in the Mississippi situation with AWS, they're saying they're going to have like 2,000 or more skilled workers on that project. So they're probably going to train a lot of people, and there's probably resources around there too.
Yeah,
so I think they should.
It seems to me like you look at something like AI, and especially in some of the underserved states or under emerging states, if you will, you think Mississippi, Arkansas, you know, there are a lot of states that have a lot of rich natural resources, but, you know, have have not really kind of kept up. I don't mean this in a negative way, but haven't really kept up with the rest of the country in some ways. It seems like this could be a real opportunity for them to bolster their economies and change the demographic within those states as well to a large degree.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that could be
right. So,
yeah. Interesting stuff, man. You should write a Forbes piece on that.
it would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, a lot of deep issues in there.
Well, yeah. Let me ask you one more question on this. So, kind of looking at this from, I'm looking at it from the perspective of the U.S., and I use that example of, in Mississippi and Arkansas and Iowa, some of these states being able to take AI and change what their economics engines look like. Do you think that is true on a global basis too? Like, could an African country kind of become the AI leader for the continent and really kind of change its? Do you think that's possible, or?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you have to look at leadership too.
Yeah.
And you have to look at relationships between that country and the United States.
Yeah.
Some of them have got much better relationships than the others. I mean, look at Middle East. I mean, we've got excellent relationships with Saudis and people like that. They've got an amazing intellectual base in AI and quantum. And then you look at places like Iran, and they don't.
Yeah, but it's really interesting because when you think about it in a broader picture, right? I mean, whether I'm a CoreWeave, and I'm going to use kind of the tier 1 neoclouds, if you will, like a CoreWeave,
yeah,
42, a Lambda Labs. In a way, these guys can really be economic kingmakers in a way, right? If the right country or the right area comes to CoreWeave to kind of expand their global footprint, and they establish a footprint in there, does that cause almost a gold rush for others that go to this, resource rich yet underserved area and build out? And does that, change the economic, structure of it? It just seems like, or fortunes, it seems like there's a real opportunity. And we're going to see some winners emerge over time as they become hubs, if you will, for neoclouds and for AI infrastructure.
Yeah, you're right.
That's really. Anyway, okay. Hey, I'm going to go really quickly. Nutanix.next. So I was in Chicago last week, seeing my friends at Nutanix, and for those who know Nutanix at a surface level, they think of hyperconverged infrastructure. They think of VMware replacement and kind of what they're doing. And it was interesting because there was some of that talk at .next, but there was really, I thought, kind of a bigger shift, if you will. This wasn't about, I'm going to go as Nutanix, I'm going to go position new products or kind of promote a product. It was more kind of repositioning the company itself as like a full platform company for the AI era, not just HCI, not just virtualized infrastructure. It leaned heavily, what I thought, into what I'd call more of a pragmatic AI message, not about training clusters, not about kind of what everybody likes to talk about, but more about like how you take AI and run it in production in your enterprise, right? So you saw updates around their agentic AI platform. You saw talk around, operational AI, governance, cost control, multi-tenancy, all of those things that become important to an enterprise. And it kind of netted or vetted itself out, if you kind of break it out into a couple of themes, if you will. The first is kind of platform infrastructure. They introduced Nutanix Cloud Platform with some new capabilities, VMs, Kubernetes, AI workloads, hybrid, multi-cloud. But they also introduced bare metal support, which is absolutely critical, and enhancements to Kubernetes as not just an option, but kind of the central element for AI. So NKP metal, which is super important. But also, as I said, Kubernetes for containers, and then VMs as a critical aspect of that as well. So that's kind of on the AI side. They really kind of expanded, leaned into containers and kind of the cloud operational model to deliver AI. And also bare metal, which is absolutely critical. But then they stepped back and looked at the ecosystem and its expansion as well. So they announced NetApp for external storage support, announced enhancement of expansion of their Dell relationship, going from PowerFlex to now supporting PowerStore as well, and some greater support for public cloud as well. And they also leaned into kind of supporting neoclouds and service providers as well, which is new for them. So all of this is good, but what it really talks about is, Nutanix, they want to stop being thought of just that HCI, make HCI easy for the enterprise, and really making the Nutanix cloud platform as central for the AI era, kind of that control plane for the hybrid AI era. It's ambitious, it's timely, and I think it's relevant to where the market's going. The real challenge is with any technology, it's on execution. Do you have the right partnerships? Do you have the right product kind of aligned behind that? All those announcements you've made, and can you establish that pivot with meaning relevance to the customers that matter, which is really large enterprise. I'll shut up there and let you kind of weigh in if you want.
Yeah. How much work have you put into that?
With Nutanix?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I spend a lot of time with them. I've looked at their strategy, their AI, if you will, strategy relative to what VMware is doing and relative to how enterprises are approaching AI and kind of how they adopt it. And what I really like about what they're doing is they're addressing the challenge that every single enterprise any enterprise CIO I talk to struggles with. And that is the conversation goes like this. Hey, Matt, we've been tasked with doing this AI project. The board is talking about agentic AI. They have no idea what they're talking about, but I know I've got to go do something. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily have the people. I don't have the products, and I certainly don't have the technologies to drive that. How do I drive simplicity and governance within this AI environment without kind of limiting what folks can do, right? Nutanix addresses that pain point really, really well in the storytelling. And when you look at their portfolio, it addresses those pain points as well. The challenge they have is kind of going up market into those enterprise organizations where in areas where maybe they haven't played before, right? Mm-hmm. That's any kind of new entrant into a market always struggles with these, right? So this is nothing new to Nutanix, but and it's a similar challenge Pure has when it tries to go up market, right? How do you establish yourself kind of in the bigger, more technically sophisticated audiences? It's going to have to build its credibility and establish it. It has the product, it has the message, it has the partnerships. Now it's a matter of time and executing against that strategy. So it's a good story. And like I said, they have a fantastic product. It's just not easy. We're so early in the market, Paul, that a lot of the companies that are deploying AI at scale today are doing it in a very kind of build your own kind of fashion, right? We're talking large enterprises that have big staffs of IT and data scientists and storage administrators and DevOps teams that are all working together to go execute this with what they get from Nutanix and in an AI factory. Yeah. Right. And they're doing things on a very hands-on, very low level. What Nutanix is doing is taking all of that, abstracting the complexity and saying, here, enterprise customers, we're gonna remove all the complexity and give you the same level of flexibility. And so they have to convince these customers that, they can actually do that. But it takes time, right? And it's going to take time before folks move from pilot into production. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how different things have changed. I worked on a earlier problem with supplying European countries with one of our products, and it ended up being an architectural improvement and change, but not in the sense that we're talking about these days. Before we split the we had one path for failure to provide supplies and what was needed, and so we ended up splitting that path into multiple ones. So in case one was blocked, there was always a path to get that supply to the customer. Yeah. But now we're doing it in totally different ways.
Yeah, it's fun stuff, man. It's fun to track, and it's fun to follow. Yeah, I did a paper in support of what Nutanix is doing. I'll go quickly because I know we're coming up to time, but that talks to more broadly kind of how to optimize the supply chain in this AI era where memory is constrained, chips are constrained, everything is constrained. And it talks to how you leverage Nutanix in NCI and NCP, so Nutanix Cloud Infrastructure and Cloud Platform.
It's on More Insights and Strategy.
Yeah, and it's in the show notes. It's worth a read because it really helps. It really helps readers understand how Nutanix can be a critical part of that supply chain constraint. But yeah, it's certainly worth a read. Hey, in the last couple of minutes, I know we're coming up. What do you get going on over the next couple of weeks that you want to kind of throw out?
I've got a couple of really heavy-duty projects I'm involved in. I think I mentioned that one is the gain of function, but also doing a couple of workshops for different customers on different issues pertaining to what's happening with quantum and the new scare that's come out. Is it we used to think it took 1 million qubits to or more for fault tolerance, but with some of the new papers and with logical qubits and that type of thing, it's narrowed it down quite a bit. So we're afraid that quantum may be available for cracking different encryption codes a lot sooner than we thought. So I'm working on a project on that. So
gotta love Shor's algorithm. Gotta love Shor's algorithm. Hey, that's awesome. I'm doing kind of similar vein. Everything, it seems to be AI focused right now. Working with a lot of the major OEMs right now on kind of positioning around AI factories and kind of differentiation. Really good stuff. But we've got Dell Tech World coming up. We've got NetApp has an event, Pure has an event, HPE has an event, Lenovo has an event. Everybody seems to have events. Cisco has an event around in the next couple of months that we'll be attending and kind of reporting back on. But so it's going to be a fun couple months and a lot to talk about. And I think we're going to have to expand our podcasts moving forward so we can cover all of this in greater detail. But until then, Paul, thanks for taking the time and for chatting. And again, for all of you out there, thanks for listening in. And please, please, please make sure you like and subscribe. And do not take anything we say one more time as financial advice. And until our next one, y'all have a couple of great weeks. And I'm sure the AI market will change dramatically even in those 2 weeks. So we'll have new stuff to talk about. All right. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Thanks.